Hello guys and welcome back to our channel. Today I want to talk about a few things which some people consider it as obstacles to try freediving, to practice freediving. And I want to explain that this is not actually the obstacles. And before we start, my name is Sergey. I'm a freediving instructor trainer, and if you're new to my channel, I'm here trying to help all of you to become a better and safer freediver. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, click the bell button not to miss any of my new video, and also click the like button because it helps this video to grow. Okay, this is a 5, in my opinion, the most common things which stop people to try freediving or stop people, let's say, to practice freediving over a long period of time. And first is the age. So quite often I have an email for someone who is saying, okay, I like to try freediving, I am on vacation in Thailand, however, I'm worried because I'm 40 years old or 50 years old or 60 years old. I'm worried that freediving is not for me because I'm too old. And this is not true. The freediving can be practicing in any age. So obviously with the age, if you want to practice something serious, include freediving, you need to consider a little bit more your recovery strategies. You maybe want to have a little bit more attention how you like recover between your training sessions. So if you're 70 years old, maybe it's not a good idea to have 2-3 freediving sessions per day. But apart of this, there is no limitation with age. In fact, one of the best freediver of all time, the Russian female freediver Natalia Molchanova, she started her competitive freediving at the age of 40. So, and then she became one of the best freediver of all time. And there is plenty of other less famous examples when people start like over 30 or over 40, and then they're gonna be still able to reach incredible results, both for themselves and on a competitive level. And this is what is pretty unique for freediving, that you can start, let's say, that old, 40 or 50 years old, and you still can be, if you want, competitive freediver. Because again, if you're thinking about many other sports, you could not start at 40 and hope that one day you're going to be a national champion. It's pretty much impossible in majority of the like sports, right? But in freediving it's definitely possible, and one of the reasons that freediving is not that much dependent on the age of participants. In fact, there is even a few benefits which you get when you're getting older, and let's say one of the benefits is that you have a lower metabolism, right? So in freediving, lower metabolism is a really big benefit, and this is what you get when you get a little bit older. So guys, if you are concerned about your age and like this stopping you to try freediving, don't. The age, your age, if you're 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, it's not a big deal for freediving. The next one is a fitness level, and this is maybe even more often what I see from time to time when someone, let's say, send an email to us, to our school, or like in social media like message, and they're saying, I would love to try freediving, however I'm not sure that I'm in good shape. They're saying, okay, I haven't been practicing any sports for a long period of time, I'm out of shape, I haven't been running or swimming or doing any other activity for a long time, so I think I need to first of all come back to good shape, physical shape, fitness shape, and then try freediving. And guys, again, this is not true. This is not the reason which can stop you from trying freediving. Your fitness shape is almost irrelevant for the beginner freediving. Yes, when you, let's say, try to be a competitive freediver, when you want to achieve the best what your body can do, then to have a good physical shape is probably really important. Not probably, it's really important to have a good physical shape. However, when you start freediving, it doesn't important at all whether you are having like a really high level shape or you're completely out of shape. On my courses I have both. Sometimes I have someone who is in a really good shape, and sometimes I have someone who is out of shape. And most of the time they, on the beginner levels, they're achieving more or less the same results in a more or less the same time. Again, when you start practicing freediving on a high levels, then your fitness shape is going to be important, but in the beginning it's not important at all. So regardless where you now, you can try freediving, you can practice freediving, so fitness shape is not going to be a huge issue for you. The next one is a lifestyle. We create the picture of the freedivers almost like leading almost like a Buddhist monk lifestyle, meditating many hours, really concerned of what eating, really concerned about like sleeping, etc., etc. And this picture can be a distraction from other people who want to try freediving, because they're thinking, okay, I don't have this lifestyle, and actually I don't want to have this super healthy lifestyle, and this is why freediving is not for me. And okay guys, this is not true as well. There are plenty of freedivers who like to have parties from time to time. There are freedivers who enjoy like social events with some alcohol consumption, and some freedivers smoking, some freedivers waking, like having like less sleep than probably best for their shape, etc., etc. So regardless of what is your lifestyle, regardless if you like to have a party from time to time, or if you're smoking, etc., etc., this is not gonna affect your beginning freediving. It's again when you're coming close to your maximum performance, to your maximum shape, if you want to be the best what you can be in freediving, then your lifestyle is going to be important for sure. But before that, it's not that much important. So don't stop because you're thinking that your lifestyle is not that perfect. So another one is like if you like to practice different activities. Again, from time to time I have this question, okay, look, I want to try freediving, however I'm also like, let's say, bodybuilding, and I've heard that a lot of muscle mass, it's going to be negative affecting my freediving, so this is what's stopping me. So guys, when I was doing my freediving courses, there was a common belief that if you have a lot of muscles, you could not be a good freediver. However, this myth is pretty much destroyed, because we have a bunch of really good, really strong freedivers who have all body shapes. Someone is really skinny, someone like really looks like a bodybuilder, and they still can achieve incredible results. So regardless what you like to practice on top of the freediving, let's say bodybuilding or running or swimming, it's not going to be a problem for your freediving. You can adjust maybe your main activity. So let's say your main interest is, let's say, bodybuilding or grappling or martial arts. You can maybe slightly adjust. Maybe you're gonna do like less intense training before your freediving sessions. Let's say your freediving sessions tomorrow, so maybe you're gonna be not that much you're not gonna have that much intense training session in the gym today. So you can like slightly adjust your other activities, and then it's not gonna affect much your freediving training. And the last one here is the health issues, right? So again, there is many people who believe that freediving is really dangerous sport, which negatively gonna affect your health. And in fact, it's completely opposite. If you're practicing freediving correctly, if you're putting your goals correctly, if you're not pushing your limits too hard, then freediving is actually going to benefit your health, because freediving is an activity which includes a lot of like relaxation, concentration, like a lot of breath work, a lot of like a stretching, mobility routine, a lot of time in the water, and all of this obviously improving your health, not negatively affect your health. So the only time when it can be it can have a negative impact on your health, it is when for whatever reason you start to pushing too hard and too fast. This is true for any other activity, right? So any other activity can be beneficial for your health if you do them correctly, or it can ruin your health if you're doing them not correctly. So let's say in our school we have a really gradual approach to our students' progress. So we helping our students to progress as far as they want, but in the same time without pushing that much. And this is why in our school we never have any freediving injuries, like never issues with any of our freedivers' health. So this is why, guys, if you're concerned that freediving is going to have a negative impact on your health, don't, because usually the problem is when you start pushing too hard. If you know how to progress safely, then it's not going to affect your health in a negative way. In fact, it's going to be opposite. It's going to help you to become like more healthy individual. Okay, guys, this was a few reasons why people stop before they try freediving. And if, guys, you found yourself like stopping freediving because one of these reasons, as you can see, it's not what should stop you from trying freediving. Okay, guys, hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully for some of you, now when you see my explanation that this is a not big deal, then you're gonna try freediving and you're gonna start practicing freediving and you're gonna fall in love with freediving. So, guys, thank you for watching my video, and I will see you next time.